I wanted to make another additional little video in regards to how people are still to this day vilifying Mr. Markle. You know that according to what's in this court case, Meghan Markle sent that letter August 2018. Mr. Markle, after that, did quite a few interviews. And now those interviews, if you go back, they make a lot of sense. Because a lot of people have said he raised a monster. You know, I am a parent. I believe my son is a good kid, that he loves me very much. As far as Mr. Markle was aware, he thought that she loved him too. I mean, she did a lot of public tweets or whatever you want to call it on Instagram about how wonderful her father was. So there was absolutely no inkling in his mind to know how much she despised him or how she discarded him. I mean, can you imagine having your own daughter do that to you out of the blue? Somebody that you simply adore and you've given your life to. Make sure that she's saved and she feels loved and she has the best advantages in life. She had no sense and no sensibility towards him. So Meghan Markle engaged in a worldwide campaign to discredit her own father, to defame him, to completely kill him in the public eyes as an honorable person. None of us are without our fair share of, not good things that we've done. But nothing in this gentleman's life warranted her behavior. I find it unfair that people to this day, after everything that's come out to light, are still trashing him. Now his interviews in the public eye, going on television and to the newspaper, they make sense because he had received that letter from her, and we've only seen little pieces of that letter. So that letter was pretty much killing him, and he had no way of contacting her because she completely closed all doors to him. So I can't understand from a parent's point of view, wanted to go and see to your own kid, hey, what's going on? And if you look at it, it must have really infuriated Meghan Markle that in all of those TV appearances and newspaper articles, he never mentioned the letter, which is why she had to resort to her 5 friends leaking the letter. Because in spite of it all, Mr. Markle, in no interviews or even in newspapers mentioned the letter. I assume that he felt that it was a private letter. So it would be good to know that, because a lot of people are going on to still vilify him that he did the interviews. I can imagine that the interviews that he did was to say, hey, please contact me. What's going on? I got this letter. But he didn't want to say he had gotten this letter, still trying to protect her. And what did he really do that was so wrong? Have 2 heart attacks? Brought on by the stress that Meghan Markle was bringing into his life by being left unprotected, abandoned by everybody, and attacked by everybody. Now the photo ops, because I went back and I looked at the pictures. It's only him somebody measuring him for a suit, sitting in an internet cafe, walking. I mean, what's so terrible about that? Can please somebody tell me what is so terrible about that? Now we have Meghan Markle setting up photo ops prior to knowing Harry, and while she was engaged to Harry, afterwards, and now in California. Are you trying to tell me that the photo ops of them exploiting children when they went to this California children's school, and they mixed with all these children without the parents' consent, them handing out food for like 5 minutes, taking advantage of people's need because this was a food drive, and them walking on dead veterans' graves If you believe that those and don't get me started on her pregnancy photo ops, okay? If you believe that those photo ops are not bad and that Mr. Markle being measured for a suit, sitting in front of a internet cafe looking at, looking at pictures of the royal family or walking on the street are worse than what Harry and Meghan Markle have done, which is exploited causes and people. Because let's not forget teenagers, the teenagers in need or something like that they did that interview with those poor teens, suicide. That was a photo op. They were exploiting it. And people to this day still say, oh, but Mr. Markle apologized. Or what did he have to apologize for? Meghan Markle calling the paps how about little perp walk on the Canadian when she was in Canada walking at that park. How about that little perp walk? Because we all have to agree now that was staged. Yet nobody's condemning her. And everybody has vilified Mr. Markle as a terrible person because he had 3 pictures of him himself. And in those pictures, he was not exploiting anybody else. Yes, people are going to say his relationship with Meghan Markle. So what? He didn't get paid big bucks, by the way. But I think that he primarily did it to look good because, of course, people were portraying him as this fat drunk, which is not. Okay, he's fat, but he's not a drunk. And Doria did a lot of things to make him, drive him to drinking, because prior to being involved with Doria, he was actually doing pretty well for himself, winning Emmys for his craft. A very well-loved and liked guy until he met Doria, and now with Meghan Markle. These are all my opinions, and a lot of people to this day, we should all take stock on things because that is not right what has been done. The biggest victim of this thing is Mr. Markle, and Buckingham Palace stood idly by and did nothing, because whether they like it or not, Meghan Markle did not sue, not the Associated Press, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex, which is a member of the royal family representing the Queen, sued the Associated Press. So it is the establishment pretty much suing the Associated Press. Now I have my doubts very seriously because all judges in the United Kingdom serve our Queen's Council, serve as Queen's Counsel, which makes me wonder whether Meghan sued them in the UK because she knew that in the United States she wouldn't have a prayer. The 5 witnesses are still being protected. Everything is terrible with this thing, and it's kind of like the Good Samaritan law, where if you see somebody in trouble, you have to step in. Otherwise, you can actually be found criminal. You can be, charged for not helping somebody. Buckingham Palace, staff from Buckingham Palace, yes, employed by her, but still members of, employees of an institution, colluded with her to defame her father. They have to be held responsible. These are all my opinions, but what do you think? I'm just flabbergasted. Another thing is that people today, after my video today, they said that the Queen can't doesn't have the power to remove Harry from the, his titles. The Queen, the monarch, is the only one, not even Parliament. And I give an example that when Parliament asked King George to remove all of the Duke of Windsor's titles, he refused to do it. And Parliament could not do anything about it because when it comes down to royal titles, only the monarch can bestow and take away titles. It is absolutely within the purview of the Queen to remove Harry's titles and from the line of succession if she so wishes to do. Now, she should also, I think it's long overdue to regulate how these titles are used so they don't end up in this situation being exploited. It's too much privilege, money that is at stake here, and the reputation of the United Kingdom. Now look at Sarah Ferguson. I'm going to leave the link there in there in there so you can look at it. From Sarah Ferguson is cringeworthy about her new book. It's just, my God, you know, her daughters grew up okay despite her, not because of her. So it's all pretty much terrible. Things have to stop. And people, Mr. Markle does deserve an apology. And so does Samantha Markle and even Thomas Markle Jr. because that letter he wrote, it was pretty spot on. If we'll now take a look at that. I remember I was absolutely vilified for my views when I said and just for pointing things out. You know, apparently pointing things out now is attacking. You know, if you're caught in a lie, that's not attacking, you're just caught in a lie. And Meghan Markle has been exploiting and abusing the position of the Duchess. Now, nobody can take away any titles because she doesn't have any. It's Harry's titles. And it shouldn't be a big deal because he wants to be a private citizen. And if they don't want any royal control over their lives, then they have to give up anything that has to do with the royal family. And then they wouldn't be in this problem. Harry is already a millionaire many times over. What do you mean financially independent? He already is financially independent. He's a 35-year-old millionaire entitled, you know what. So anyways, please leave your comments. You know, let's not be too nasty. But these are my opinions. And I think Mr. Markle deserves respect, deserves a huge apology from even the press. What do you think? Let me know.